Hello! I am really excited because I'm outdoors today. It's a beautiful winter afternoon. It's in probably the upper 40s here today. So I thought I'd take the opportunity to come outside, location, a beautiful locale to do some plein air painting today. So I'm just gonna let you see behind me here at um, my surroundings, the intensity of the sun. There's a nice crisp going through. It's really beautiful. The location I've chosen is it's kind of swampy actually, but you walk out on this really long, beautiful boardwalk, and through the trees, over the swampy area, out into this marsh, all along the wooden boardwalk here, into a little gazebo pergola area, and then out to this marsh area behind me. It's a really beautiful day. I'm excited to be here. I don't know if you can see up behind me on top of the gazebo there's a really cool weather vane with what appears to be a hawk or an eagle at the top. And something really cool I noticed as I was kind of scoping the area and setting up, um, looks like an actual hawk had lunch here at some point. Those are what's left of a fish. Those are fish scales. So I thought I'd paint the marsh behind me. I think it's really beautiful. There's a lot of texture out here, and even though it's winter, there's not a lot of green or lushness. In the summer, this is very green, very lush. There's a lot of turtles, a lot of wildlife. I imagine there still is a lot of wildlife out here. I just don't see them or know what they are, but um, there's cattails out here beyond the edge there, shedding seeds. The water is very murky and muddy. This time of year, usually you can kind of see through it. And like I said, I've seen turtles out here, but it's kind of it's a little yucky right now. But what's cool about it is the thickness of the muddy waters allows for a really nice reflection of the blue sky and the trees out there. I think that's really interesting. I also think that these obviously older trees out here that are really, there's not much left of them, but I think they're visually interesting. All of the heaps and mounds of vines that are overwintering, covering all the area out there. It's really beautiful. So let's go ahead and get started painting. I'm gonna set my camera up here. And yeah, looks like I'm in frame. So what I was thinking is painting this curve in the water out here, this little island, some of these dead, interesting trees. This stream is titled Plein Air Painting, and plein air painting basically is just getting outside into the open air and painting using natural light out in the field. And people that do this a lot have a nice little easel, a freestanding easel with a little tray on it to set their paints on and everything. I was aware that there was a balcony type of thing here, so I packed, for ease of transport, the semi-moist palette of colors. There's actually 2 layers of colors in this kit. They are softer paints. Here's my other colors. I brought a bottle of water, a cup, and my brushes, and I'll just kind of begin by sketching. One of the tools that I was trained to use for such instances is a viewfinder. I did not bring one, but a viewfinder can be something as simple as a square or a rectangle cut out in a piece of cardboard to help set up your view that you're planning on drawing. But I'm going to just kind of wing it and go with just what I see here, starting with the curve of the river as it comes around the island out there. Some bushes, brush, a lot of stuff going on. Should make for a pretty basic color palette today. We have this dead tree out here. Not much left of it. But the reflections are what's really lovely today. They're so clear, the waters are so calm. The blue of the sky with the red muddiness of the water. Another dead tree, just kind of leaning. And getting that background in. And there's several layers in the background. There's kind of the bank beyond the river. There's a layer of trees. And then there's a hill. There's a disc golf course right over there. So it's very distinct in texture because it's mowed clean. And then beyond that hill, I see another line of trees and just blue sky. So I'm going to start with a medium brush. I'm going to kind of try to keep it simple and stick with one brush, starting at the background and working my way forward. Just go in with blue sky. And typically I would recommend in doing this watercolor paper. I don't have watercolor paper that's a really easily portable size, so I'm just going with mixed media paper, which should be fine because it is pretty durable paper. Finding the right paper for watercolors can be tricky, where price does reflect. So, now my colors in the distance are darker, even in just the tree line back there. So I'm going to start with a really black brown for those distant trees. The only thing that's really making those trees stand out is that hill back there that is mowed and such a different texture and color because it's a disc golf course. I'm going in pretty light with my background colors. Nice thing about watercolor is you can always come back in and achieve more detail later. But it really is nice to have a beautiful day and to be outside in the sunshine, getting some vitamin D. Winter has always been one of those times for me where I do tend to get a little down. I love my sunshine. I love being in the sun. Like a cat, I will seek out the warm spaces and the sunshine. And then my hill back there that the disc golf course is on is a little yellow. The grass has died out, so I'm just going to go in with a gold color, yellow ochre. I'll bring that out. Building from the background to the foreground. I hope that the weather is treating you all well wherever you are. You have an opportunity to get out in the sun, soak up some rays. Okay, so now my next line of trees is not as distant, so it's not as dark colored. So I'm just going to go with a lighter brown for that layer. And again, I'm just going to let the color bleed into the previous colors that I've put down. Plein air painting is tricky because of the intensity of the light. It tends to wash out colors. But it's a good exercise, and I have not done plein air painting in, I don't know, decades. It's been a while since I've done any plein air painting. But it is fun, and it is fascinating. So just going in with some wild tree branches. Not really painting trees, I'm painting treeness. The idea of trees, the essence of trees. And then I'm just going to keep moving up. Some really rich browns. Let's see. Got all these grasses and cattails. And these browns just get golder and warmer as they come, as they're closer to me. And I realize that some of you may be leaving me comments or questions. As it is this particular live stream, because I'm in a remote locale, I can't read those on my screen, but I will peruse through them later and get back to you with questions or comments that you may have. And I'll leave that in the comments underneath this video. So I've got my island out here that, as I explained before, is mostly just grasses and what appear to be vines that have kind of wintered over. And it's kind of a neutral yellow tone. So taking that into consideration, I'm going to neutralize my tones here with some greens. As I come in and lightly go over this little island area. Now, normally I would take the time to tape down my paper on a board to prevent the paper from curling as I go along, but since we're in the great outdoors, I'm not going to do that. Okay, now I'm going to try to do this water, see what I can do here. I'm going to make this water kind of gray compared to my other browns by just adding a little blue to the brown. And I've got the water is darker around the edges next to the land. May have been too long since I've done this kind of landscape. I don't know what it's going to look like. But I'll keep working on it. We'll keep going. Not everything is a masterpiece, right? And that's one of those things I have to remind myself of a lot. I read somewhere, and I don't know who said it, it's probably someone really famous and really obvious, but that, for every 100 pieces of art you create, one masterpiece. And that's both comforting and frustrating, because there's part of me that wants everything to be perfect every time, and that's just not realistic. It's like expecting it's just unrealistic. We'll just say that. So I'm allowing the colors that I'm adding to the water to my water painting to just bleed a little bit with the wet that has already saturated the paper. Hopefully that'll make it look a little more like water. It gets moving along. And this water is not moving. It looks very stagnant, but hey, we're trying. Okay, so I'm going to go back into some of my background layers that I painted and get a little more detail in them. It's a little too much. And I am trying to keep in mind that, you know, all of the rules of painting that I've learned over the years and heard over the years, you know, starting with the background, moving forward. But since it has been such a very long time since I've done this kind of painting, I don't know how it's going to turn out. And that's okay. I'm going to scooch in just a little closer. I don't know if you can see this. Not much to see yet. Get you back here. But I'll keep going. Maybe I'll make a complete mess of it. Maybe it'll be something, and that's okay. It's about the practice. So I am going to take some white and some blues and purples and try to get a nice mix of a color that would be suitable for some of these reflections that are happening. And nope, not happening. That's okay. I've still got my lines here for my trees that I drew in. Another big dead tree back there. Bring in some more texture and color on this little island in front of me. I don't know, if nothing else, this is a good exercise in humility. They can't all be masterpieces. Oh, we got a nice breeze now, which has changed the surface of the water, so it's no longer reflective. It's got waves on it. I'm just trying to go in here with some of the really clear details. I've got a big bush here that's growing in the water at the water's edge. This really is kind of a difficult subject matter. I don't think I had anticipated how many shades of brown there are in a winter landscape. So that's an interesting challenge. So building up my base a little bit as they curve around the water. Revisiting some of the background lines of trees back there, building those up. I don't know, I've got a really sedate looking landscape here. It makes for a good challenge to mix up my media, get me thinking outside of what I'm comfortable with doing, because I've gotten very comfortable lately working with acrylic on canvas, doing faces, bodies. I haven't really focused on landscape in many years, so it's all a challenge. So here we have a semblance of the landscape that I'm seeing. I'm gonna kind of bring in close. There's a curve back there in the river. There's the dead trees on the island out there. There's a hill in the distance that is a disc golf course. Layer of trees in front of that, and then behind the hill, another layer of trees. And here is my painting, humble as it may be, but I feel like I've gotten the layers in. I've got the sky, I've got the layer of trees behind the golf disc hill, the layer of trees before it, and then the swampy grassland area, the bend in the river, an island with some semblance of dead trees. So, they all can't be masterpieces. It's a good lesson in life and in painting. Thank you for joining me on this beautiful winter day out here in the grasslands swamp next to a picturesque gazebo. Really appreciate you being here. I will go back, read comments, and respond as I am able. Thank you so much. I hope you decide and do something fun today. Challenge yourself, step outside of your comfort zone. I certainly have. So thank you for joining me. See you soon. Bye.